And welcome back to Around the Waves on KCOU 88.1 FM Columbia. I'm Luca Vitale alongside me, Ben Schmidt, Ryan Waelterman, and Nick Spolec. All right, let's get to some NFL action here. 3 weeks have come and gone in the NFL season. Week 4 kicks off tonight when the Miami Dolphins look to stay undefeated when they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. A couple of players, though, have separated themselves as the best in the game so far this season. So, Ryan, I'm going to start with you. Who is the front runner for league MVP?
So the person I'm going to go with just won the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. It's none other than Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens, and we're really going to find out what type of player he is as they play Buffalo. Luckily, it's a home game for the Ravens, but Lamar has just been phenomenal, kind of getting 2019 MVP vibes from him right now. He has 10 touchdowns through 3 weeks, I guess 3 games technically speaking. He had 8 in 2019 when he won the MVP. He's only thrown 2 interceptions, and I just think he's been really phenomenal, and everyone says the same thing. The Baltimore Ravens are only going to go as far as Lamar takes them, and I really do think that's true. And he's been off to an outstanding start this year. And those 10 touchdowns, man, that's just amazing. And I think he's just going to keep going up from there. He's really finding stuff with Mark Andrews. He even has the other guy, Duvernay, he's really getting they're getting good passing together. They're really getting good chemistry together. I think this Ravens team has what it takes to win their division. 2-1, obviously. I just think Lamar's just going to keep going up from what he's doing right now. I think he's playing phenomenal. But I do think we're really going to find out when he plays the Bills this Sunday.
Yeah, I think this is Lamar Jackson as well, so I'm not even going to argue that, because if you just look at what Lamar has done for the first 3 games, he would be the MVP. Obviously, they don't give that award out after 3 games, but if you take away Lamar's rushing ability, he's been one of the best passers in the NFL. And if you took away his passing ability, he's 5th in the NFL in rushing yards, ahead of guys like Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry. So, I mean, the aspect of his game this year has just been taken to another level, especially Lamar when he takes off and runs, as he's got 243 yards on the ground this year. 42% of the time, it results in a first down. So he's doing it at excellent, timely times as well. So it's got to be Lamar. I'll give another player, though, that certainly could turn it on. Not that he already hasn't for the first 3 games, but would not shock me for sitting here at the end. Josh Allen, despite the loss to Miami on Sunday, has had an awesome start to the season with wins on the road against the Rams and then at home against the Titans. Just came up short in Miami, but sitting just over 1,000 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, just 2 picks. You add in another 113 on the ground, so about half of what Lamar has, and a rushing touchdown there. And Josh Allen is certainly a guy that you can guarantee is going to have his name probably in the top 3 of the MVP discussions come January end of the season, because it'll be a Bills team that'll be competing for the number 1 seed, and usually when that happens, the quarterback of that team is at least in the conversation. But when you're looking at Josh Allen, who's going to go for 4,500 plus yards and then another 500, 600, probably even more on the ground, it's not going to be the same rushing numbers as Lamar, but he'll certainly have more passing yards than Lamar and potentially more touchdowns. So Josh Allen's another guy, especially with the Bills, everyone thinking is going to be one of the best teams in the NFL. Allen's going to certainly get his votes, but it's certainly Lamar at the moment in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are balling out for sure, and every single game that Lamar has, he keeps getting dollar signs to his name for that next contract. He's balling out for sure, and Josh Allen's doing his thing. But a guy that I'm kind of thinking is really, really been amazing this year is Jalen Hurts. 916 yards, 4 touchdowns, passer rating of 106. He's been balling out, and he can do it on the ground. He can do it on over the he can pass, he can run, and he's a true dual threat quarterback. And I think a lot of people kind of questioned his ability maybe last year and kind of questioned like what he was going to be like, but he is absolutely balling out. And when we talk about terms of valuable player, he's no doubt the most valuable player to that Eagles roster. He's made that offense so much better. Devontae Smith starting to grow into a really good receiver, and then obviously adding A.J. Brown to their roster really helped too. Gonna help them and help Jalen as well. So he's been balling out. And then I kind of wonder what people are starting to think about Tua here, about his stock that's starting to rise.
Yeah, you're not wrong about comparing Tua and Jalen Hurts, because Alabama. So, Jalen Hurts. Remember, Ben and Ryan, I said this going into the season. My question mark was Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts has arrived. And if Jalen Hurts continues to play like this, the Philadelphia Eagles will be representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. It is simple as that for me. They have one of the best offensive lines. They have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. They got one of the best wide receiver duos in the National Football League. They got a pretty good running game with Miles Sanders, and you got Jalen Hurts. So that's number one. Number two, for me personally, I picked Josh Allen to win MVP. So far for me, that has changed, and it is Lamar Jackson right now. This man left $200 million on the table, and he bet on himself this offseason. So far, this man's looking like a genius doing that. I am worried about him getting hurt because he does need to get paid. What I noticed about Lamar Jackson, unlike 2019 when he won the MVP unanimously, however you say that word, he is showing a ton more patience in the pocket. He looks more comfortable. He looks more poised in the pocket. He has dissected defenses to the point where the game has slowed down for him. He's delivering the football with more accuracy. He's commanding the offense with more authority. And throughout 3 games this season, it doesn't matter who has blocked the blind side for Lamar Jackson because he has had 3 different left tackles in the Baltimore running backs. Unlike 2019 because they had Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, and they had somebody else. It wasn't J.K. Dobbins yet, but they have struggled this season. J.K. Dobbins just returned this week. They're going to ease him back into the mix. So far, they have had Mike Davis, Justice Hill, in some. Who was the other guy?
Kenyon Drake.
Thank you, right, Kenyon Drake. But yeah, the running game has stunk without Lamar Jackson. Let's just keep that in mind here. The last 2 weeks, Lamar Jackson has thrown for 536 yards, 7 touchdowns, ran for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. I did the math last night because I was bored. And for a 17-game season pace, that is to throw for 5,600 yards and 68 touchdowns. That is ridiculous. He leads the NFL in touchdown passes right now. So if you think about it, this is video game numbers if we're talking about Madden right now on rookie mode. He is accounted for right now 87% of the number 1 offense in the National Football League. In addition to the Ravens secondary being suspect, which is amazing. I think Devin Duvernay has taken the next step up, which is helping me for my fantasy team. That helps me a lot because I did really bad last week and Ben already saw, left 98 points on my bench last week. That's not good. Rashad Bateman has been playing very good. J.K. Dobbins, when he returns, I think that the running game is going to be better because Lamar Jackson. After the first game, I'm like, is he not going to be running because he wants to prevent injury? Lamar Jackson he's leaving everything on the field, and he is proving the front office he is worth every dollar that they're going to pay him.
Yeah, and the thing with Lamar, too, is there's going to be a couple times when they play Cincinnati where, as you mentioned, the Ravens secondary stinks, and that's probably 2 games where if the Bengals are clicking, they drop 30-plus points. So those could be a couple shootout games, and not necessarily say like stat pad his numbers, but those are 2 games where Lamar could throw 4 or 5 touchdowns in each of those.
Ray Lewis is going to be going to Baltimore's practice facility. He's going to be like, "Yo, we're going to have a conversation, and we're going to fix this right now."
You saw what the Bengals did to their secondary in 2 games last year, so that's a couple shootout games for the Ravens, and then the Bills won as well, depending on what the Bills secondary looks like, because we saw them last week missing so many of their starters, and Tua was able to beat them over the top a couple times. So just looking at the overall schedule, there's an avenue here for Lamar to put up some historic numbers. Maybe not that exact pace that the numbers say, because him to continue that up for the next 14 games would be pretty incredible and would be unanimous MVP. But certainly he could put up some video game numbers by the time the season comes to a close. Mm-hmm. But certainly you still have to keep Josh Allen in that conversation.
Well, he's in the conversation.
Hurts has been awesome. He's taken the next step forward, especially as a passer. That was the one question left. And you can't leave him out of Mahomes as well. We haven't even talked about him, but
he's not
they're 2-1. No, yeah, he's not in the top 3 right now, but that's the thing where the Chiefs usually have a stretch where they figure it out and start running over teams. Maybe that's when he puts himself in the conversation.